Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Kent Tilley. Welcome to the channel. Today I want to do a quick video about the dangers of what I believe is an irresponsible financial plan. And if you have an advisor that's giving you bad assumptions or, trying to make themselves sound better because they are trying to sell you on rates of return, then this could lead to projections that will show, a retirement that is going to work, sort of absolutely no problem. But in reality, that might be a real danger zone. That might be putting you at risk because they're showing you things that, could happen in sort of a perfect case scenario. Of course, we want you to get great returns and all of these other things, but one of the things that I do and we believe at K4 is to show rate of return guidelines based on FP Canada's standards, which are a lot lower than a lot of the projections I see advisors using, because we're not generally supposed to show long-term rates of return of 7 or 8%, changing the life expectancy to a lower amount, of course. So if you're doing three things, I'm going to change in this, and I'm going to show you how big of a difference it makes based on just this random guy that I made up. And his name is Johnny Test, and he is 55 years old. He has $250,000 in his RSP. He's putting $500 a month into his RSP. He's got $40,000 in his TFSA. He's putting $200 a month into his TFSA, or just using his tax refund every year to put $2,400 into his TFSA. Decent plan. He's going to be mortgage free by retirement, which is great. Makes it a lot easier. He's estimated to get about $1,000 of CPP a month starting at 65. I'm going to make this easy. He's going to get 100% OAS at 65. And then he's got to use his RSP and TFSA to supplement the income that he wants. Johnny comes in and says, I want to retire at 65 and I want to live off of $4,500 a month after tax for the remainder of my life. And so if he goes and talks to somebody and they're, in my opinion, an irresponsible planner where they're trying to sell him on rates of return, it's all going to look pretty good. So what I've done here is I've shown this advisor saying that Johnny is going to see a 2% inflation rate and he's going to get an 8% rate of return on his money, and he's going to live till 90 years old. And what you see here, and this is kind of what I look for when I go through numbers with people that come to us, when we do a $500 plan, the first thing that we do is put in all of their numbers and use assumptions that we believe together make sense based on their goals and saving rates and other things. And then I'm always hoping to see that there's never any red coming in, which means there's a deficiency under this gray line, meaning that, yes, they're not actually going to be able to fund that lifestyle. So you can see the gray lines going up because that's the inflation going up. This purple stuff is the government benefits starting at 65. This software automatically empties out the TFSA first. That's not what I would do. We would average the tax rate over time, use that on, emergency fund basis, whatever. But for this case, it appears like it's going to work. So we go and take a look and we say, you know what, Johnny, you're doing absolutely amazing. You don't need to save anymore. This is absolutely fantastic. It looks like not only can you spend $4,500 a month, you can actually spend a couple $1,000s more a year, a couple $100. You can for sure retire at 65. You don't even quite need to get 8%, you'll be totally fine. If you get 7.6% and you have more money than you need entering into retirement. So you have 769,000 in order to create this. Now, I wouldn't like to see that, because that means everything has to go very, very well in order for this guy to actually hit this retirement goal. And I would actually prefer to play it safe so that they're not going to fail in retirement. We haven't done any additional planning here. This is just me showing you the difference between what we're supposed to show with rates of return and inflation, basically, compared to what we can just pump any numbers into these things. So if I go to my plan, I haven't changed anything, but I said your rate of return based on your investing style is actually going to be probably closer to 4%. Inflation seems to be higher than 2%, obviously. What if we use a 2.5% inflation rate? All of a sudden, this guy starts running out of money at age 75. He's seeing a deficiency at 75. He's got a tiny little bit left, and now from 76 onward, he's only living on government benefits of $1,800 a month or whatever. He'll start getting some OAS or GIS in there if he's only got the CPP and OAS. So his retirement options do not look quite as good. Now it's showing that he can only live on about $3,000 a month. He could delay his retirement age to 78 if he wants to live off that much. This required rate of return is sort of odd because, well, it's 8.12 instead of the 7.6 or whatever it was because of the inflation. And in this case, in order to fund that retirement lifestyle, he needs over $1 million because he's not getting an 8% rate of return. Huge difference. And the fact of the matter is that most people, sure, you can talk about getting long-term rates of return of 8% potentially if you are invested in 100% equities in your portfolio, which that happens very little. Very few people are comfortable with that kind of asset mix. Very few people are comfortable with the fluctuations. Very few people are actually going to succeed if they have their money all in equities, because they're going to get scared when they see a big downturn and make mistakes. Human beings as a whole do not get great returns that match the index returns over the long term because they cannot continue to stay the course, which is another reason why you should show lower than even average, historical average rates of return to play it on the safe side. You don't know what's going to happen. So that is why we err on the side of caution with our retirement planning and the projections that we put in the software, because this is obviously a massive difference. And this guy might be thinking that he's in this great position where he can retire and start spending all this money. And all of a sudden, as he's getting through his 60s, entering his 70s, he's got very little amount of money left, and he's like, what am I doing? I'm running out of money. How am I going to survive all the way until 90? His lifestyle is going to have to decrease significantly, maybe when he doesn't want it to. Of course, everybody knows that we talk about the stages of retirement and spending and whatever, and as you age, you start spending less in retirement, generally speaking, but not always, not in every case, because sometimes health issues arise, there's long-term care costs, there's medication costs, there's all of these other things that can add up on that other end. So it might not even be lifestyle expenses, it's actually expenses to survive and live well into your old age. So I think it's dangerous sometimes out there, if you get an advisor that's just putting in whatever projections they want, because it can be very misleading. Another reason to maybe come to us, have us do a $500 plan for you and show you, okay, well, based on our projections, you're well on your way, or here are some really good tips that we found in here that can increase the likelihood that you're going to have a better retirement, and just know kind of roughly what you should be able to spend, and actually have a conversation with you about that rather than just trying to sell you something. So if you want, our new website is up. Just click something like submit now or whatever. I guess I can look at it. I've never even looked at it. Let's look at it. That's crazy, you know? K4financial.ca, I think, is my website's name. Oh, looks nice. All right. So I guess you just hit start your plan here. You put your name in, email and phone number. Are you married? Do you have a spouse? How complicated is it? This is going to help us know. What do you understand about financial planning? We'll get an email and then we'll reach out to you and let you know kind of the next steps and book you in our calendar for the meeting. So love to hear from you. Thank you guys very much again for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.